Hello, hello. Welcome to the second episode of Inside Out, where we give you bite sized content on sexual reproductive care and lots more fun topics. I am your host, Juliana, and I can't wait to unravel, chillax, and get the conversation going. So, today we have a very special guest who is from Bangladesh. She is one of my good friends who goes to school here at Montana State University. So, I'm happy to introduce Rumena. Hi, Rumena.
Hi Juliana.
How are you today?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. So tell me a little bit about yourself and like when did you move here?
Yep. So first of all, thank you for reaching me out for this because it's definitely a very important and also interesting topic. So I will love to talk about it today. Yeah. So I am Rumena Begum. I'm from Bangladesh. So I have reached in the USA in January 1, 2020 and started my master's in industrial engineering at MSU. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's nice that we have like a growing Bangladesh community here on campus. Like it just adds a lot of diversity to like MSU
Indeed.
and like Bozeman. So I'm really glad that you said yes to my podcast and you wanted to talk to me today. Like I just love talking about some of these because it just makes me more aware of like your culture and like what you have to offer the world. So yeah, it's gonna be super exciting, and I hope you guys love this episode because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna definitely like talking to Rumena about all of this we have today. So just jumping straight into our first question, I want to kind of open with the question about culture shock. Culture shock is something that is very common when you move to a new place. It gives kind of like a disorientation because you're just unfamiliar with the subject, the place, the attitude of people, and like the culture overall. So it's in a good way. It's kind of like change. It's like it brings a lot of change within yourself to realize, and it also makes you look into the other changes around you. So what was something that gave you a culture shock when moving to the United States?
That's a difficult question because I would say I was kind of informed about US culture. Not mostly, but overall, I was informed because I watched lots of Hollywood movies and stuff. Yeah, so I'm not sure if the culture was perfectly portrayed in those movies and what I heard about US culture. But I would say I have not noticed that much differences what I have known. But to mention some facts, I think it will add, I don't know, something to your research. Like regarding sexual orientation, in my country, I have not, I know that there's people, I just saw them from, I would say, from far away. Like when I maybe in traveling, so I have seen these people with different sexual orientation, but I have not encountered them. Okay, I have not talked with them, never. It's kind of honestly, it was kind of a weird feeling for me when they are in front of me. So we people usually try to avoid them. But after coming here, I saw them, people with different sexual orientation are really working in the every places. Normally they are dealing with different kinds of stuff and with us, and I am dealing with them like talking definitely professionally whenever we need to discuss on something, or maybe I'm going to a place or any what can I say, official place where there's maybe a people with different sexual orientation, but I'm not feeling weird what I felt in my country. So it's just because I would say how society see them, right?
Yeah.
So after coming here, I find them they are totally normal as like me.
Yeah.
I mean, as normal people. So there's nothing, what can I say, special, I would say. It's just how society saw them and how they react. So in here, I find everything is nice, and yeah, they are really smart. Yeah, they are very confident about their orientation
Mhm.
and their position in the society.
Yeah.
So that was great, and that was obviously a positive thing that
Mhm.
I now feel like I should respect them,
Mhm.
and also, yeah, I should see them as normal people.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for bringing that up. I never thought about that as a culture shock, but it's so true. Like I was just thinking back to like Sri Lanka and how they view people from different sexual orientation. It's kind of like, you know, they're different, so they think of it as the difference is like something to like, you know, be away from and like have that
Mhm.
distance going just because
Yes.
they're different from like you, for example, like, you know, like the person that you're with. So it's just really different, just having that perspective change here when you see people like, you know, accepting them and like giving them the same opportunities and just treating them equally, which is what needs to be done like throughout the world. It's like you don't
Exactly.
want to bring that difference and break that create that distance basically.
Yeah.
So I
Everyone
totally
has
understand.
the right actually to express their, I mean, whatever they feel, however they want to live their life, right?
Exactly.
We should
Like
respect that.
Yeah, nothing else about them changes. It's just
Yeah.
you shouldn't put someone away just because of one thing.
Exactly.
Because everything else you'll definitely find like a common ground between that person and you. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
For sure.
Okay, so the next question I have is, what does sexual reproductive health look like in your country?
Can you please just explain a little bit?
Yeah.
What do you mean by sexual or reproduction health?
Yeah, for sure. So, sexual reproductive health is basically like you have the right or you have the choice to even go to a clinic that kind of deals with like gynecology services. Like it could be like UTIs, like urinary tract infections, or it could be just like an annual pelvic exam just to examine like your bladder, your uterus, your cervix, just to see if everything is in place. Or even if you need like a contraceptive method that you want to be on, like you could go on birth control, have be able to just talk about it with like someone in the clinic and like get an opinion, consult with them and see like, you know, if that's a good fit. Or even if you are on like some kind of birth control and that doesn't work with you, or you have that option to talk to someone and maybe change that option to something else. So like, do people in your country like, you know, encourage people to look into all of this or like even talk about it? Because it happens, like UTIs, for example, you know, where women are more prone to it just because of our anatomy compared to men, which
Yeah.
is why women have a higher risk of getting UTIs. But not a lot of people know it unless they get it. And they're always confused because they don't know what it is. And oftentimes they try to like, you know, deal with it by themselves, but sometimes you can't because it's a bacterial infection. So yeah, that's basically kind of like a sexual reproductive care in a nutshell. But like, yeah, does it ring a bell to you? Like, is anything like familiar to you, or like have you experienced anything like that back home?
So, you will be surprised that I am not informed about this UTI thing. So you can imagine, I mean, how poor the sexual health in my country. Okay. In my country, usually before marriage, girls or boys, I mean, if there's issue we are dealing with, so people are not encouraged to talk about this kind of stuff at all.
Yeah.
And if someone is very much interested, and even if, I mean, not just sharing with someone, if she goes to a doctor to talk about this kind of stuff, and I mean, just to understand what's going on with her, maybe she will be, what can I say, assaulted
Yeah.
or humiliated
Yeah.
by the doctor somehow.
Wow.
Like, you are not married yet.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about? Why are you so trying to be so matured? Something like this. So there's one thing, and about all those, what can I say, accessibility. You talked about like different kinds of exams or tests for body, and talking to a gynecologist. Those things are available, pretty much available in my country.
Okay.
You can reach out to them. But the thing is, before marriage, it's definitely not encouraged.
I see.
And about the contraceptive.
Contraceptive.
Okay, contraceptive. I can't pronounce it as well because
okay.
I am not informed that much about it.
Yeah.
So you just can imagine. The thing is, about this thing, I mean, an unmarried girl will never talk to someone else. Maybe just will talk to her friends, but with a doctor or with a specialist or even with the parents or someone who will really be helpful to her. No. Big no, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame fact in my country.
Okay.
Yeah, talking about this kind of stuff before marriage.
So if this is just another question I had. So what if like after marriage, can all of this be accessible to a girl?
Yeah. If she wants, she can reach out to gynecologists or experts like this. Yeah.
Okay.
But still, I would say having conversation with close ones, like with parents or friends, about this even after marriage, is kind of a big no.
I can understand how it's okay after marriage, but before marriage it's a big no, because I think like from just like learning more about like the Asian culture and like how like sometimes people are very keen about getting their daughters married first because it's like a huge thing and it's like a big responsibility for the parents and they take it upon themselves like it's the highest priority. And so any issue that the girl or the daughter is having, it's kind of like a big thing. It's like a struggle for them to like overcome, like the parents, to get her married, because their ultimate goal seems to be like to get the daughter married, and any problems that come before that with her, it's like a struggle to get her married. Like it's like she won't find a groom and she won't get married, so they worry about so many things about the marriage rather than like the health of the child.
Yes.
So it sounds like there are some common things between like a lot of countries in Asia, in Africa. So it needs to be talked about, to be honest, because we all share kind of the same perspective on something. So definitely that's a great thing that you talked about today.
Yeah.
So what kind of sex education did you receive growing up?
I would say no sex education. It's kind of weird that usually people learn about sex or sex education. I mean, they get educated from their friends or watching, I don't know, maybe porns or watching intimate scenes in movies, something like that. It's not like education. So it's kind of misleading.
Exactly. And a lot of information are like kind of kept out because all of these scenes are only focusing on like pleasure and like maybe most of the movies, like from what I remember, are between like a heterosexual couple, so it's like a man and a woman, but like what does it look like for someone who's like transgender or like someone who is gay or like like all these other things that have changed the world right now. You can't find any of those information in a movie. And so like the only way all these people can get like the right information is through like a program, through the school, through extra programs outside in the community, which is very important.
In my country nowadays, what can I say, people who talks about different national issues, these kind of people are available in every nation, who actually knows a lot, and they talks about what should be what can I say, accepted in your country, what should be provided to people in your country. So those kind of people, they really appreciate to incorporate sex education in our education system, and also but still it's not accepted socially, and it's kind of a shameful act, and people really are not ready for it. So if you ask me especially as your question, I mean, what was my sex education from my childhood or when I was growing up, I would say No, I had lots of confusions.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I was in my undergraduate as a freshman, I did not know. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a, what can I say, weird thing to share.
Yeah.
But as I am being honest to talk to your research, yeah, I was that kind of ignorant.
That's okay. Like we all start somewhere, I think. Like when I had my first sex education, it was in 7th grade, and that was the last thing I had. Like it was like the first and the last thing, and after that it was kind of like self-learning and like, you know, reading books or like, you know, stuff like that. And then I learned more about it this year through our brand ambassador program through Bridget Care. So it's kind of like they have like up-to-date information that are like current and like what we want to talk about with different sexual orientation. And so it's like, you know, it's really up to you as a person to like branch out and look for resources. Like if you have the interest and if you want to like, you know, teach other people or like, you know, create that awareness, like you need to make that first step. You know, that's how I kind of learned more about it and like, you know, like kind of figured out like, okay, what should I trust, which source should I actually get the information from, and which one.
Sources.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like don't feel bad that, you know, like it was like long gone or anything like that. Like, you know, we all start somewhere.
I actually don't feel bad, but I think like it should not be like that.
Yeah.
Because it, as I said, it creates lots of confusion and lots of misleading information
Exactly.
you will imagine or maybe you will get from unreliable sources. That's why I would say there should be sex education programs, as you said, like
definitely
for everyone. And also I mean it's important for health, I would say, for any person, boys or girls. So that's important.
Yeah. So do
it
you
should be ensured by the, I would say, government body.
Yeah.
Or whoever, I mean,
like the education.
Education.
Yeah, like
board,
through the education board, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So like, do you think like maybe in the future, like how could that change? Like, what do you think should happen to like change that?
I would say I'm definitely not, what can I say, expert to suggest something, but and I don't know if the sex education, the way sex education is provided to people all over the world, if that's the perfect way. I am not informed about that.
Yeah.
But I would say we should start at least. We should follow what's what's provided all over the world, and we can research on them. What should we pick and what should we avoid from the world? So like this, I think sex education should be started from childhood. It's not like that much intense.
Yeah.
But at least the primary stuff, because girls, they are sometimes victimized
Exactly.
by people because they don't know what those guys are doing to them.
Yeah.
So just the basic notions, that's how they can understand what's coming towards them. That's how maybe they can just reach out to their parents. Like,
yeah, I think that's nice that you mentioned that it should start at a young age, even like, you know, with whatever like cognitively, like how the age that they're in, you know, they need to know like, okay, this is bad if someone does this to me. Like even if you're in like primary school, which is like, you know, like 3rd grade, 2nd grade, like you should know that, you should be able to detect with like your current age that this is wrong, like I need to tell my mom about this or my dad about this, and like start from there. And then you would have another like another course maybe in like middle school where you build on like what you know from like before grade, and then like build upon it throughout your entire school life basically. So you're more knowledgeable when you get out of like high school and go into college, because college you have like a lot of things that are like different from high school. And like but it's true that if you don't know, you'll be a victim of like rape or like prostitution, because you don't know and you get pushed into it and you think that this might say right or this is okay or something like that.
exactly.
And another thing that I liked what you said was like how like, you know, like you need to like take into account like your country's values, your religion, or whatever factors that influence like your decision, and have that be included in like the sex ed, where it's not like, oh, just because you're from a particular religion, it's like, no, you can't do this, like, you know, we're gonna give this we're gonna tell you what it is, but we're not gonna like, you know, like make you like decide for you, but like, you know, but have like a section where you like talk about like different people have different values and how that can influence your decision to like either have sex before marriage or like wait until after marriage. And it shouldn't be like one is good than the other, you know. Like, you know, be like open about both options and like what works best for you.
I think it's not just because of that particular region. That region, I mean India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, those they somehow think that it should not be before marriage. But I would say also our religion, religious rules, and also societal values. Definitely we have different societal values from our country, so those things definitely influence on our, what can I say, acceptability of those stuff.
Totally understand that. Even in Sri Lanka, it's like where we've been kind of patriarchal before, like we're like, you know, a male dominant society, you know, it's been like that. But like recently, you know, we're kind of coming out of it and like being more independent, like giving opportunities for women and like, you know, giving them the choice to like, you know, make the decision for themselves. And I think like it's a good start, but you're totally right on like how these countries in that similar region have like a very similar societal values, especially with sexual reproductive care and how you shouldn't do it before marriage, or even like have like an annual exam, you know, like anything to do with like women and like sexuality and their anatomy is like a big no, because it just totally translates into something's wrong with them, you know.
Exactly.
Therefore they can't like be with the man or like, you know, like be married or anything like that.
I would say in my country these perceptions are really changing.
That's really nice.
People are openly talking about this kind of stuff. So, and this is bringing changes to some extent, and I think it's increasing.
Exactly. That's why I love that we all start somewhere, and like, you know, even if it's late, as long as, you know, you progressively like move towards like acceptance and like, you know, giving options, like that's like a great start. So what are some taboos around this topic, and why do you think it's considered a taboo?
Definitely sex itself is a taboo in my country. Before marriage, after marriage even. Because people won't even prefer to discuss about it even after marriage. There's things like it's nothing to discuss about. So it's kind of always a taboo in their life. And as I mentioned in my answering, infertility is a big taboo. People don't find it as a normal fact. It's just a, you know, it's just what can I say, it can happen to anybody, right? But it's also a big taboo. What else? And also, I don't know if that includes, I mean, having menstrual period. That's also a big taboo to talk about. But nowadays, it's kind of changing because people are raising their voice. So,
Well, that's great that you brought up like menstrual cycle, and like that also needs to be talked about, because you could have like PMS or like something severe with it that can lead to like other problems later on in life. You know, they're all connected some way or the other. And the other thing that you mentioned was infertility, and that's also like a huge thing. You know, some people face it, you don't know when if you are even gonna face that. So it's always good to talk about it and like not consider it as a taboo. I just remembered like one of the books that I read. It's called Half the Sky. It's a great book. It's about like turning oppression into opportunity for women, because women, it like talks about like a lot of countries in the world, like women go through like prostitution, rape, and like maternal mortality. And like, you know, provide solutions to it. Like something we know is like, yeah, rape happens, prostitution happens, and like people talk about it, but people don't talk about maternal mortality, you know, and why that happens, and like, you know, like the causes of it and things like that, which is important because as women, like we have like a wider hip. That's we're biologically disposed like that, and that's because it helps us in like childbirth, and that it can also cause a lot of infections like fistulas and like all that stuff that eventually will make you die right after childbirth, but nobody really talks about it. So this book was like great about like talking about some of the taboos around like why they don't talk about it in certain countries, and why they like put women like, you know, like far from their village or whatever, like something like that, and like shut them from the society because it's considered a taboo, or it's considered like really unhealthy, or like, you know, dirty. That's what they mentioned in the book as well, which is sad, you know, like just like that being a woman, you know, like it's like you can put yourself in that position and see like how bad that would feel like, but like it's true that a lot of women like that are going through it like until today, you know. But like you mentioned, you know, like just having open conversations about it, like that's important, and like that's the only way we can like pass the message and like have reliable sources and all that.
And we just see the consequences, and because of the taboos we don't know how and what the facts that lead us to that consequence, right?
Yeah, totally.
And as I mentioned about that incapability, which is infertility, I also should mention that taboo regarding I don't know what it is, sexual inactivity or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, it's also a big taboo.
Like not to like
not to mention or not to express.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or not to discuss.
Okay. Even if it's before marriage or like after marriage?
After marriage as well. Yeah,
I see. Yeah, that's a very interesting point that you brought up, that you can't discuss it at all. Like
these are actually just physical facts, right? You also can have a treatment to solve it, but as these are big taboos, you are not talking about them, or you are not reaching out to a specialist, and that's why you are not getting rid of, you are not having the solution, just because you don't want to talk about it. So that's how I think this stuff makes life more complicated for people in the country.
I think that is very true, and because you don't talk about it, nobody knows it. Like it's like the first time I'm hearing something like that, because I didn't know that it gets like, you know, progressively worse after if you don't talk about something that like, you know, is bad, and then eventually cause more problems later on, and no one knows it until like it gets super worse.
Exactly.
So yeah, thank you for telling me about that. Okay, so we are actually towards the end of our questionnaire. So I know we kind of talked about like how things are changing now, but like what do you wish you saw, like, you know, like 5 years from now, let's say, like
in my country? People are more aware of their sexual health, definitely. Definitely not just by their own interest, through sex education, proper sex education. And as I mentioned, that talking about whatever physical defects you are feeling, and people are, what can I say, open to, I don't know if they will be that much open to discuss with other people, and I don't think it's that much necessary, rather than reaching out to a specialist or experts who can help you like that.
So do you think like your values change? You don't, if you're not comfortable, you don't have to say which value or like values. Like, do you think your values change from based on like before you came here versus like, you know, like right now?
Honestly, I don't know. Honestly, No, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because this kind of thinking that I'm sharing with you,
Yeah.
these were my thinking when I were in my country
Mhm.
already. I was in a conservative society.
Mhm.
My country, I mean, it belongs to a conservative society.
Mhm.
I am from that society that has all these taboos,
Mhm.
but still I don't know how, reading lots of stuff
Yeah.
online, and I would say good books, somehow my thinking was changed, um, from my thinking in my undergraduate first year, second year.
Mhm.
What I was thinking about this kind of stuff has changed somehow, I don't know. Yeah, before coming here, it
Yeah.
was changed already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Mhm.
Again, I think like just you seem very aware of like what's happening in your country, your society, the values, your family values. You know, you're very aware of it, and that's like the
Okay.
first step. And I love that you're like that, because I think like someone like you could voice out and like you know create like another Rumena basically, you know, like, and then that just like channels around like your whole society where people
Yeah.
are just like, you know, standing up for themselves, what they believe in, like, you know, like it doesn't matter, like you shouldn't shame someone for what they say, you know.
Exactly.
So that's
I had
amazing.
intention actually to raise my voice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe after a couple of years,
Yeah.
because I think, yeah, we should actually talk
Mhm.
about this
Mhm.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, and just
to bring changes.
exactly, and having like a very strong Bangladesh community here, you know, like
Mhm.
you have like a lot of opportunity to like, you know, start here, like just
Mhm.
small, expand it
Mhm.
throughout. Yeah, that's
I
really
have actually a
amazing.
couple of friends, as I mentioned about Farshina,
Mm-hmm.
Chadni. They are kind of like, I don't know if I am that much open-minded,
Okay.
but I think comparatively to my country's people,
Mm-hmm.
I am enough open-minded.
Yeah.
And those friends, they are also like this,
Mhm.
and also Rania.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about this kind of stuff frequently,
Mhm.
whenever topics comes. But still, I would say the Bangladeshi community in here
Yeah.
is also, they just what can I say? They just brought that typical Bengali society with them in here.
Okay.
So yeah, they are also so conservative.
Yeah, I mean, change is hard. Change can't happen like overnight, right?
Yeah.
So it's totally understandable that sometimes you kind of have that same perspective that you carry to other places, even if you move. So it's totally understandable. But I'm glad that, you know, there's change, obviously, like from what you said, like, you know, there's like change of opinion, change of like thinking here, even here with your friends. And like, I'm pretty sure that like, you know, channeled throughout like your family and like, you know, like your other friends, and just like keeps going. Okay, so our last question is what are some biggest differences you see between the US and Bangladesh in the way sex, reproductive health, sexuality, sex ed are viewed, discussed, and accepted?
Yes. So as far as I know, in here, sex education is really appreciated and is provided. I am not sure if it's a proper thing they're providing or not, because I'm not aware of that.
Yeah.
So I won't judge
Yeah.
and I won't guarantee.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good in here. But in my country, as I mentioned, that it's not appreciated and people are not ready for it to accept yet. And sometimes government thinks to include this kind of stuff from high school education.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, having maybe chapters or books on these, but still there's some conservative people or groups who are resisting this. And definitely sex is not a taboo in here as far as I know, but in my country it's a big taboo. So yeah, people are not aware of this and don't want to talk on this stuff. And yeah, before marriage, yeah, as I mentioned, and after marriage is also taboo in here, but in the US it's not. What else? And about those sexual incapability
Yeah.
and also infertility. on those, I think USA is not that much progressed yet.
I see.
I am not sure.
Okay.
But as far as I know,
Mm-hmm.
but in my country it's more worst. People won't talk about it at all. Other than they are facing, worst condition.
Yeah.
But in here, I don't know, maybe some people are open for this, but some people are maybe still conservative. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what ESA on this fact. Huh.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
great that you brought that your observation that maybe like here in the US we're not openly talking about infertility and like other problems
Yeah.
with like conceiving. So that's a really good observation, which maybe if I dig through like some of the research, maybe I can find something for that. Like that's something
That's
that I
great.
want to like dig deep and see more. But yeah, well, thank you so much, Romana. This was very
Sure.
insightful. Like, you're very knowledgeable with like from what you've seen in your country and versus like how it's here, and like you've developed like a greater thought maybe compared to like how you were before. Like you're able to like see like, okay, this is how I learned it, and you're able to recognize that maybe I need more reliable sources, and like you're able to like find those. So that's really nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm really grateful that like you're open to talk about it, and like you were open to talk about it today. So thank you for that, and I hope you guys enjoyed the tidbits on the perspective and variations in sexual reproductive health care in Bangladesh. It's always nice to like have like a well-rounded perspective. So we are more culturally appreciative and like more culturally competent when we speak to others. So like if I meet like another Bangladeshi, then I know like like how to talk to them, like like we need to be like very conscious about like what we say like in a nicest way, and like not humiliate them or like not embarrass them by our questioning. So this interview was great for me to kind of understand your culture a little bit more. So thank you for that. And so that's a wrap. So we can't wait to meet you guys in another episode soon. Until then, this is Juliana signing off. Bye bye.